All in, poker face, no bluff. In the lockdown, the streets, no cut. I woke up. Force from the lies, get your doctor broke up. Get my elders, they flowers, look how we rose up. Tough, blood cold as a warrior named David. I don't play games, but my God plays favorites. We dangerous. The case language, plus we angles, we carbies, we walk around aimless. There's war at your front door, bombs by the dump on. You scared to die then, what did you come for? The world in the uproar, what would I run for? Life on the line, homie, what would I front for? It's gonna be a mosh pit, the enemy and God getting stopped in. The energy is masculinity and it's toxic. Nigga, y'all can't stop me, because it's God isn't trying to box me. Going all in, daily giving diligence to my calling. In these streets giving sight to the blind. Will I die about mine? Was a guide to a coffin? Cause precious in his sight on this path. Yeah, endurance is a plight, so I stand for this fight. Yeah, let me go and say it twice. Will I die about mine? So I'm following with Christ. So we rolling through the four corners looking for the Lord's chosen. Bringing back the understanding to all of the ones broken. Yeah, Edom gon' pay for all of the ones stolen. Missiles loaded. Yeah, we've been international teeth. Dropping all the heathen sleep. Robots for bloody garments. What you'll see when it's black boots and smashing Edom's teeth. Pressure. Yeah, we applying pressure. Can't give a damn what the world or the diamonds and pearls up in heaven is where I be laying treasure. Yeah, we on the front line. Who's strapped up when it's wartime? So if you scared, wear a skirt, ground shake when them boots hit the dirt. You want all in, that I'm all in. You can tell by my faith that I'm all in. Front line with the truth, I'ma fall in. Even if it's a dead end, going all in. You can tell by the things I'm involved in. I can lose it all.
Hey, Shalom Israel, Most High Christ bless. Most High in Christ bless. Hey, I'm your brother, Officer Mikael, and this is Our Daily Bread. The topic for today is the last days, the signs of the times. So brothers, uncover your heads. Sisters, cover your heads. Let's go ahead and rise and face Jerusalem and send up the prayers. This is the book of Ecclesiasticus, chapter 36 and verse 12. O Lord, have mercy upon the people that thou hast called by thy name, and upon Israel, whom thou hast named thy firstborn. O be merciful unto Jerusalem, thy holy city, the place of thy rest. Fill Zion with thine unspeakable oracles, and thy people with thy glory. Give testimony unto those that thou hast possessed from the beginning, and raise up prophets that have been in thy name. Reward them that wait for thee, and let thy prophets be found faithful. O Lord, hear the prayer of thy servants according to the blessing of Aaron over thy people, that all they which dwell upon the face of the earth may know that thou art the Lord, the eternal God. Heavenly Father, hallowed be thy name. We, your people, come to you asking that you continue to pour out your blessings, your grace, your mercy, your wisdom and understanding upon the nation of Israel and upon the leadership of IUIC, that you continue to open our eyes that we may see the wonderful works of your prophecies, Father. Continue to let your prophecies be unfolding before the eyes of all the nations, that they may understand that you are God and that you do dwell, that you do operate in the kingdom of men, and that you are the God of Israel, that you are the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, the one true living God, that you are all-powerful, Father, and that we are your chosen people, and that we are the apple of your eye. You have loved us from the beginning, Father. Continue to show forth your prophecies. Continue to show forth your great works. Continue to send your ministering angels around about us, Father, and protect us and encamp us and walk us through that fire in the day of the Lord's return, like you did for the three holy children, like you did for Hananiah, for Mishael, and Azariah, Father. We ask these things in the name of your Son, Jesus the Christ. Amen. Hey, Shalom Israel, Most High in Christ bless. Once again, it's on. Hey, so look, y'all know how I like to start. Let's go to the book of John, chapter 5 and verse 39. The book of John, chapter 5, verse 39. Search the scriptures, for in them ye think ye have eternal life, and they are they which testify of me. So look, we're going to search the scriptures today to see about these last days, to see about the signs of the time and how we must observe the times, how we must be able to discern the time and know where we at. Because in order for us to know where we at, then we're going to know how we must move. So look, let's get right into it, right? Let's go to the book of Matthew, chapter 16. Matthew chapter 16. The book of Matthew chapter 16 and verse 3. And in the morning it will be foul weather today, for the city is red and lowering. O ye hypocrites, ye can discern the face of the sky, but ye cannot discern the sign of the times. So here Christ is talking to the scribes and Pharisees. He's telling them they're hypocrites, that you can discern what the weather's gonna be, but you can't discern the signs of the times. What it's showing us is that we have to be able to discern the signs of the times. So let's start seeing what times we're living in. Let's go to Matthew chapter 24. Matthew chapter 24 and verse 3. Matthew chapter 24 and verse 3. And as he sat upon the Mount of Olives, the disciples came unto him privily, saying, Tell us, when shall these things be? And what shall be the sign of thy coming and of the end of the world? So now the disciples are asking Christ, hey, when is that? What are the signs of the times, basically? How do we know when the end is going to come? So watch this. Verse 39. So we're going to be all through Matthew 24. So I want to start at verse 39, though. Matthew chapter 24 and verse 39. And knew not until the flood came and took them away, so shall also the coming of the Son of Man be. So in this verse, it's talking about the times of Noah. It said, you're not going to know until it happens when the coming of the Son of Man shall be, when Christ's return shall be. We're not going to know until it happens. Watch this. 1 Thessalonians chapter 5. And I'm building up, y'all. We're going to touch on all of that and we're going to get understanding on it, right? So 1 Thessalonians chapter 5. We're going to start at verse 2. 1 Thessalonians chapter 5 and verse 2. For yourselves know perfectly that the day of the Lord so cometh as a thief in the night. So it says the it's coming, the day is coming as a thief in the night. Do you know when the thief is going to break into your house? Does the thief call ahead of time and be like, hey, yo, I'm about to break into your house, so be ready for me? Or do it just happen? Of course, it just happens. There's no thief that's going to call ahead of time and let you know that they about to break into your house. So watch this. Verse 4. But ye brethren are not in darkness, that the day should overtake you as a thief. So it says you might not know when it's coming, because it is going to come as a thief in the night, but you're not in the dark that is going to overtake you like a thief. Why are you not in the dark? Because there are signs that are going to let you know what times we're living in. There are signs that are happening throughout the earth right now. So from there, we're going to start getting into some of these signs. Let's go to 2 Peter. 2 Peter chapter 3. We're going to read verse 3 and 4. 2 Peter chapter 3 and verse 3. Knowing this first, that there shall come in the last days scoffers, walking after their own lust, and saying, where is the promise of his coming? For since the fathers fell asleep, all things continue as they were from the beginning of the creation. So it says in the last days, there are going to come scoffers. So about 45 minutes to an hour ago, on Biblical Smoke, there was a scoffer named Garfield. Garfield is a pseudo scholar that you'll find him on Sinetta TV. So he came to Biblical Smoke saying that there is no proof that the 12 tribes of Israel existed past 850 BC. So he's trying to put doubt that of the accuracy or the validity of the Bible, saying that there's no written history of the Israelites past 850 BC and that we're not the Israelites. So this is a scoffer in the last days. You also have the one that just got locked up for rape. What's his name? Polite. He's been scoffing the Bible to the point where he shot the Bible up. Right? There's the other guy with the little ponytail hanging out of the side of his head. Shaka Thotmos, I believe his name is. This is another scoffer in the last days. You have the urban apologetics that are scoffers. You have Heyman Malone, a.k.a. Vocab Malone, who's a scoffer. And the Bible shows you that there will be scoffers in the last days before the coming of the Son of Man. So this is how we start to discern the times, look at the things that are going on around us, see all the quote unquote putting of the Bible on trial. How can you put the number one selling book of all time, quote unquote, on trial? Without the Bible, there is no knowledge of anything, because the Bible is the first history book, is the top selling book of all time, is the most circulated literature showing you the creation, the mist, and the end of times. There is no other book that does that. So from there, let's go to the book of Daniel, chapter 12. Daniel, chapter 12. Remember, we're going over the signs of the times. We're going over the signs of the times. How do we know that we're in the end times? Because in the last days, there's going to be scoffers. There's going to be greatly increased learning. Learning of what? Of wickedness. So watch this. Daniel chapter 12 and verse 4. But thou, O Daniel, shut up the words and seal the book, even to the time of the end. Many shall run to and fro, and knowledge shall be increased. Now, the knowledge that is increased is not the Bible, because Daniel had to shut up the book. Daniel had to shut up the book, right? So the knowledge that we have seen increase in the world, like, okay, I'm 44 years old, right? So in my lifetime, we went from having TVs with big humps on the back to being able to hang your TV on the wall. That's one. In my lifetime, we went from having a rotary phone or a push button phone that had to be plugged into the wall, that had a cord that was so long, only so long, right? To now having cell phones that you can actually do live video on. Because right now, I am broadcasting to you from my cell phone. That is knowledge being increased in the last days. In my lifetime, we have went from not having the internet to having dial-up internet, where we had to have the phone line be busy while we dial up. And you hear that dial tone, toot, 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 toot. And AOL online, to now we have high-speed DSL internet. This is knowledge being increased. People are going to and fro. There's two young Jake sisters right here in New Orleans that have figured out the Pythagorean theorem. The Pythagorean theorem is basically the square root of pi. They figured that thing out. Two young Jake sisters, one 14 and one 16, right here in New Orleans. You know, all praise to the Most High for that, because that does show that we are a special people above all people, but it's still showing that that knowledge would be increased, that worldly knowledge, showing you that we're in the last days. Watch this. Let's go to 2 Timothy. 2 Timothy chapter 3 and verse 1. Again, we're going over the signs of the times. The signs of the times. What time are we living in? So, 2 Timothy chapter 3 and verse 1 says, "Notice also that in the last days perilous times shall come." So it says, in the last days, perilous times, dangerous times shall come. What more dangerous time is it than right now, when you have to fear not only your brother shooting you down, you have to fear the enemy shooting you down. There's a fear of disease. There's a fear of starvation because of famine. There's all types of fear. There's all types of danger that lurks about right now. Let's read on. It says, in the last days, perilous times shall come. For men shall be lovers of their own selves, covetous, boasters, proud, blasphemers, disobedient to parents, unthankful, unholy, without natural affection, truce breakers, false accusers, incontinent, fierce, despisers of those that are good, traitors, heady, high-minded, lovers of pleasure more than lovers of God, having a form of godliness, but denying the power thereof. From such turn away. For this sort are they which creep into houses and lead captive silly women laden with sins, led away with diverse lusts, ever learning and never able to come to the knowledge of the truth. So, again, in the last days, you're going to see people that love themselves. They're covetous, they're boasters, they're proud. They're blasphemous. How many people do you see that say we're not the children of Israel? That the Bible's not a true book? Jesus Christ is a white man. The 12 tribes are white. You niggas ain't the true people of the book. Those that are in Israel right now, those issues, are the people of the book. That's blasphemy to call them the Jews. That is Amalek. Amalek is in the land right now. It says they'll be proud. They have lifted up the head. They are proud in their sin right now. Our people are proud in their sin. They are glorifying people like Sexy Red, Cardi B, Young Thug, NBA Youngboy, Blueface. They are glorifying these people because they are proud in their sin. It says lovers of themselves. They love themselves more than they love God. They love themselves more than they love their people. I'm going to do me, you do you. No, it's not supposed to be this way. And it says they have a form of godliness. There are Israelites out there that aren't keeping the commandments, right? They have a form of God. They know they Israel. They teach certain things from the Bible, but they lead silly women away captive. You know, going into the multiple wives doctrine. Saying women can wear pants. They creep into these houses and they run game on these sisters and they lead them away. All these things are happening right now. Why? Because we're living in the last days. The Bible is a true book. So from there, let's go back to Matthew 24. Let's go back to Matthew 24. Let's see. Matthew chapter 24 and verse 14. And this gospel of the kingdom shall be preached in all the world for a witness unto all nations, and then shall the end come. The reason the end has not come is because Christianity ain't the gospel. Christianity has been preached throughout the four corners of the earth. Everybody know about that image of Cedric Borgia. That image of Cedric Borgia is in every country around the world. The false doctrine that God so loved the world means all nations is throughout the four corners of the earth. You can go to Indonesia right now and you'll see white Jesus in John 3:16. You can go to Papua New Guinea, you're going to see white Jesus in John 3:16. You can go to Guam, you're going to see white Jesus in John 3:16. You can go to Ghana, West Africa, where everybody in Ghana is black, but you're going to see white Jesus and you're going to hear John 3:16. So the gospel that will be preached throughout the ends of the earth that will cause the end to come is that the so-called blacks, Hispanics, Native Americans, and those that are scattered throughout the four corners of the earth via the diaspora are the 12 tribes of the nation of Israel. Once Isaiah 11:11 is preached throughout the four corners of the earth, then shall the end come. Once the true image of Jesus Christ is preached throughout the four corners of the earth, that he is a black man with woolly hair and he's pissed off at the way his people have been treated, then shall the end come. Once that 144,000 are sealed with the knowledge of the true Israelites, that the people that are in the land right now fighting over the Gaza Strip are not the people, then shall the end come. That's why they fighting hard for this gospel not to go out. That's why they fighting hard to try to stop this truth. But they can't do nothing. Nothing against the truth. Nothing that they do is going to stop this. Nothing. Because this has to come to pass. This has to happen. Because if it doesn't, then that means the Bible's not a true book. And we all know that not to be the case. The Bible is the truest book on the planet. That's why it's the #1 seller. That's why it's in every household. That's why it's in every country. That's why it's in every language. Because it's the most powerful book on the planet. Because it's the truest book on the planet. They even put it in movies that whoever has that book has power to run nations and rule the world. So let's jump up. Let's jump up to verse 7. So the Bible is a true book, and we are living in the last days. These are the signs of the times. So verse 7, Matthew chapter 24 and verse 7. For nation shall rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom, and there shall be famines and pestilences and earthquakes in diverse places. So, nation shall rise against nation. Right now, you're seeing Amalek rise against Ishmael. Kingdom against kingdom. You're seeing these different wars, like the Ukraine versus Russia. There's famine. The shelves are still empty. They still have not fully stocked shelves, whether it be Walmart, whether it be Kroger, whether it be Winn-Dixie, whether it's Piggly Wiggly, or wherever. The shelves are still empty in these stores. In fact, there are stores that are closing down because they don't have any food on the shelves. So we are still in the midst of famine, pestilences. They still got different variants of COVID-19 out here. People are now taking the flu shot. The flu is a pestilence, believe it or not. It says earthquakes in diverse places. Was there not an earthquake in Turkey? Was there not an earthquake in Morocco? There was an earthquake that registered here in Louisiana in Lake Pontchartrain. It didn't register very high on the Richter scale, but it still made the Richter scale like a 1.8. That's something like a 18-wheeler going through a residential neighborhood, and you might feel that little rattle. That's about the size of the earthquake. But yet and still, there was a earthquake that registered on a fault line that runs through the Lake of Pontchartrain here in Louisiana. When have there ever been earthquakes in Louisiana? So you're seeing these earthquakes in diverse places. These things are happening. These things are happening because it's God starting to visit the earth. Because that's another sign of the times. We have greatly increased learning of wickedness, right? Now, other signs of the time are these natural disasters starting to occur more frequently. Because the Lord is starting to visit the earth, like he says in Isaiah 29. So let's get that real quick. Isaiah 29 and 6. This is the book of Isaiah, chapter 29 and verse 6. Thou shalt be visited of the Lord of hosts with thunder and with earthquakes. Let me read that again. With thunder and with earthquake and great noise, with storm and tempest, and the flame of devouring fire. So, thunder, that comes with storms. Earthquake, we just talked about earthquake. Storms and tempests. It's going into hurricanes and tornadoes and these different weather events. It says with great noise with great noise and devouring fire. You know that great noise is going into those missiles shooting. And that devouring fire is the bombs dropping. There's also been wildfires happening more frequently. Like they had the wildfire in Canada. They've been having wildfires in Hawaii. There's been wildfires here in New Orleans. Right next to my job, there's marshland that's been catching on fire from lightning strikes. So these things are starting to occur more frequently because these are the signs of the times. This is our Lord and Savior showing us what days we're living in, showing us that we are in the last days. From there, let's go to 2nd Esdras 6. 2nd Esdras chapter 6 and verse 18. 2nd Esdras chapter 6. 2nd Esdras chapter 6 and verse 18. And it said, Behold, the days come that I will begin to draw nigh and to visit them that dwell upon the earth. So it says, the day will draw nigh that he shall begin to visit them that dwell upon the earth. And his visitation is in these natural disasters that are occurring more frequently. Is leading up to the second coming of our Messiah. So these are the signs of the times, y'all. These are the signs of the times. So when we start to see these things, what must we do? What must we do when we start to see these things occurring? Let's go to the book of Luke. Let's go to Luke chapter 21. We're going to start at verse 25. Luke chapter 21 and verse 25. Luke chapter 21 and verse 25. And there shall be signs in the sun, and in the moon, and in the stars, and upon the earth distresses of nations with perplexity, the sea and the waves roaring, men's hearts fainting, then for fear and for looking after those things which are coming upon the earth. For the powers of heaven shall be shaken. And then shall they see the Son of Man coming in a cloud with power and great glory. When these things began to come to pass, then look up and lift up your head, for your redemption draweth nigh. So, as we start to see these things occurring, we got to start looking up. We got to start looking up. And how do we look up? We start looking up by keeping these commandments, by watching and praying, by turning to the Father, putting our trust in the Father, because our redemption draweth nigh. Our redemption is getting close. We in the last days, we at the end, y'all. We at the end. The finish line is almost there. You can see the light at the end of the tunnel. Our kingdom is coming. We got next, y'all. So we got to hold the line. We got to hold the line. From there, let's go to 2 Timothy. Let's go back to 2 Timothy. Chapter 3. We're going to read verse 12 through 14. 2 Timothy chapter 3 and verse 12. Yea, and all that will live godly in Christ Jesus shall suffer persecution. But evil men and seducers shall wax worse and worse, deceiving and being deceived. But continue thou in the things which thou hast learned and hast been assured of, knowing of whom thou hast learned them. So, as we see the day approaching, as we see these times coming, as we start to look up because our redemption is near, there's going to be evil men that will wax worse and worse. They're going to deceive and they're going to be deceived. But you got to stand firm on what you've been taught, knowing of whom it has been taught, knowing that the things that we are learning is coming from the Messiah himself through the Spirit, through his Spirit that is upon the prophets that are bringing out this truth. His Spirit is on Bishop Nathaniel. His Spirit is on Bishop Yawasap. His Spirit is on Bishop Kanai. His Spirit is on all the deacons. His Spirit is on the captains. His Spirit is on the officers that teach this word, on the soldiers that bring this word out 365 days out the year. We got to know that this word is of the Messiah, that this is of his Spirit, because there ain't nobody that's teaching like the prophets are teaching. There is nobody that's teaching this word like this. From there, let's go back to Matthew 24. Told y'all we're gonna be in Matthew 24 a lot. Matthew 24, and this is probably the scripture everybody been waiting on. Matthew 24 and 6. This is probably the one y'all was waiting on when I first said I'm going to go to Matthew 24. Matthew 24 and 6. And ye shall hear of wars and rumors of wars. See that ye be not troubled. For all these things must come to pass, but the end is not yet. So we are hearing of wars and rumors of wars. They got the war over the Gaza Strip. The war in Ukraine. You're hearing the rumors of wars, of China starting to get involved, of Iran starting to get involved, of Hezbollah starting to get involved. You're hearing about Turkey mustering up the war of the host to start to get involved in what's going on in the Valley of Jehoshaphat, in the Middle East. World War III is on the brink. These are the signs of the times. So from there, let's go to the book of Habakkuk. Let's go to Habakkuk. I always have a hard time finding Habakkuk. Y'all bear with me. All right. Habakkuk chapter 2, I'm going to start at verse 1. Habakkuk chapter 2 and verse 1. I will stand upon my watch and set me upon the tower and will watch to see what he will say unto me and what I shall answer when I am reproved. And the Lord answered me and said, write the vision and make it plain upon tables, that he may run that readeth it. So this is Habakkuk saying he's going to stand his watch and he's going to see what the Lord is going to give him. So now the Lord is telling him to write the vision and make it plain upon tables, that he may run that readeth it, right? So the table is the Bible. And he said, make it plain in the Bible that he that readeth may run. We're in these last days are that he that is reading it and we're running with it. We're running with it to go shout it from the rooftops, to bring out this truth, to let it be known. So watch this. Let's read on. Verse 3. For the vision is yet for an appointed time, but at the end it shall speak and not lie. Though it tarry, wait for it, because it will surely come. It will not tarry. So the vision is going to be at the end, in the last days, and it's going to speak. How is it going to speak? Through the prophets that are bringing out the truth in these last days, right here, right now. Like I told y'all, we the ones that's running with it, because we're reading it and we see it plainly. Verse 4, behold, his soul which is lifted up is not upright in him, but the just shall live by his faith. So his soul which is lifted up is not upright in him. It's talking about Esau. Esau is proud. His soul is lifted up, but the just shall live by faith. We living by the faith of the second coming of the Messiah, that his promises that he told us in Romans 9:4 shall come to pass. That we will be adopted back to the Father, that the kingdom is ours, that the promises are ours, that the covenants are ours, that the law is for us, and we're the only ones that could be the servants. And as concerning the flesh, Christ came for the Israelites. That is the faith that we have. And how much we show our faith? By keeping the commandments. Because faith without works is dead. And God ain't the God of the dead. He's the God of the living. So keep his commandments and what? Live. Let's read on. Verse 5. Yea, also, because he transgresseth by wine, he is a proud man, neither keepeth at home, who enlargeth his desire has hell, and is as death, and cannot be satisfied, but gathereth unto him all nations, and heapeth unto him all people. So this is talking about the United States. It says they can't keep at home. He's a proud man. They say, who's going to take us down? Who's going to destroy the United States? They say, God bless America and no place else. It says they can't keep at home. They have over 800 military installations around the world. They have embassies in over 80 countries. It says they enlarged their desire has hell. Everywhere they go, their influence is there. Before they came to Kuwait in the Middle East, there was no such thing as homosexuality in the Middle East. They had no strip clubs in Kuwait. They didn't celebrate Christmas. But guess what? All those things are there after they came to Kuwait in the Middle East in the 1990s. It says there as death. Death follows this man everywhere that he goes. Verse 6. Shall not all these take up a proverb against him, and a taunting proverb against him, and say, woe to him that increaseth that which is not his. How long, and to him that laden himself with thick clay. So it says, of those people that he heaps onto himself, remember all those Afghani refugees that they brought in, all the Palestinians that are here. It says they're going to take up a proverb against him, a taunting proverb. Allah Akbar is a taunting proverb. Allah Akbar is what Ishmael screams before they commit jihad, which is their holy war, and they martyr themselves by killing themselves with C4 strapped to their chest, and they blow up everything. Watch this. Before I move on, that thick clay is going into the miry clay, the mixing of all peoples. This great melting pot. That's what that's going into. Verse 7. Shall they not rise up suddenly? that shall bite thee, and awake that shall vex thee, and shall be for booties unto them. So it says they will rise up suddenly. They shall awake. If you look at your convenience stores, your gas stations, it's all Ishmael that runs these gas stations. They're all sleeper cells in the United States. They're going to wake up and they're going to bite the United States suddenly. Like somebody said, those caterpillars, yeah, they're going to eat from within. Verse 8, because thou hast spoiled many nations, all the remnant of the people shall spoil thee because of men's blood and for the violence of the land, of the city, and of all that dwell therein. Excuse me. So because the violence of the land, because the violence of America and of the city, when it's talking about the city, it's talking about Babylon the Great, that golden city, so to speak. And because of the violence of all that dwell therein, because the inhabitants of this place, and because of man's blood, all the killing that they have done, these people are going to rise up against Babylon. You look at what's going on right now on the Gaza Strip, and they're rejoicing over dropping bombs every time they drop bombs on Ishmael in the Gaza Strip. So yes, because of that city, because of Jerusalem, they're going to rise up, because they call Israel Little America in the Middle East. And yes, they are attached to Babylon the Great. So when they rise up against them, of course, Big Brother's going to get involved, and that's going to kick off World War III. And World War III is for our redemption, y'all. It's for our redemption. But like I was saying, when you look at what's going on in Gaza right now, and them dropping bombs and them rejoicing every time they drop a bomb, then you see the images of babies with their arms blown off, their legs blown off. There was one image that I saw where this young child had half of her face hanging off. Now, she wasn't dead, but she was maimed beyond recognition, and half her face was hanging off. There was another image where the skull was split in half, and you can still hear this young baby crying. There's another one where a father's holding his son in his arms, and his son has no head, but you can see because he's on his knees on the ground, and you can see the head on the ground next to him. So it says, for the blood of men. That's what it's talking about. All that death that's being caused right now. That's what's going to make these people rise against them. That's what's going to make Ishmael remember his nature. That's what's going to make that wild man return back to his nature. And it's all for our deliverance. It's all for our deliverance. So, speaking of that wild man remembering his nature, let's go to 2nd Esdras 15. 2nd Esdras chapter 15, verse 28. 2nd Esdras chapter 15, verse 28. Behold, an horrible vision, and the appearance thereof from the east, where the nations of the dragons of Arabia shall come out with many chariots, and the multitude of them shall be carried as the wind upon earth, that all they which hear them may fear and tremble. So it says the horrible vision from the east, that the dragons of Arabia shall come out with many chariots. Their many chariots now is talking about tanks and airplanes and these weapons of war that they have. And it says the multitude of them shall be carried as the wind. upon earth. When it's talking about that wind upon earth, it's talking about destruction. They should be carried as destruction upon the earth. And it says, all that hear them shall fear. Remember that taunting proverb, Allah Akbar. They're going to hear that and they're going to fear. They're going to hear that proverb and they're going to fear. So let's read on. Verse 30. Also the Carmanians, raging in wrath and with great power, shall they come and join battle with them, and shall waste a portion of the land of the Assyrians. So the Carmanians is going into Iran. Hamas is backed by Iran. Hezbollah is another terrorist organization, so they call it, that is backed by Iran. The people in Turkey, the Kurds that are rising up, they go into the ancient Medes, which means they're Iranian by descent. They are the descendants of Iran, and Turkey's starting to get involved. So you're seeing that they're starting to join the battle. And when it says they shall waste a portion of the land of the Assyrian, it's talking about Israel. It's talking about Israel. Israel is that portion of the land of the Assyrian, because the Assyrian is going into Esau, Amalek at this point, right? Verse 31. And then shall the dragons have the upper hand, remembering their nature, and they shall turn themselves, conspiring together in great power to persecute them. So we're at that point where the dragons of Arabia are starting to remember their nature. They're starting to conspire together. They're starting to come together to waste that land of Assyria, to destroy that land right now. And it's all Bible prophecy. And it's all for our redemption. So from there, let's go to the book of Luke, chapter 17. Luke chapter 17, we're going to start at verse 26. This is the book of Luke chapter 17 and verse 26. And as it was in the days of Noah, so shall it be also in the days of the Son of Man. They did eat, they drank, they married wives, they were given in marriage until the day that Noah entered into the ark, and the flood came and destroyed them all. Likewise also as it was in the days of Lot. They did eat, they drank, they brought, they sold, they planted, and they builded. But the same day that Lot went out of Sodom, it rained fire and brimstone from heaven and destroyed them all. Even thus shall it be in the day when the Son of Man is revealed. So just like during the time of Noah, when the flood came, it said evil was increased on the earth. All manner of wickedness was increased on the earth during the times of Noah. This is why the Most High said he had to start over. He had to hit the reset button. That's why he sent the flood to destroy all the wickedness out of the earth. And he started over with Noah, the 8th person. So Noah, Ham, Shem, Japheth, and their 4 wives, those 8 people started over, right? So now we fast forward and we're talking about during the times of Lot. During the times of Lot, Lot stayed in a 5-city kingdom known as Sodom and Gomorrah. What was going on in Sodom and Gomorrah was rape, murder, all types of violence, homosexuality. Sodom and Gomorrah was a lot like America today, which is known as spiritual Sodom and Egypt. So it said, just like in the times of Lot, where it rained fire and brimstone, so shall it be when the Son of Man is revealed. So just like it rained fire and brimstone on ancient Sodom and Gomorrah, it's going to rain fire and brimstone on Sodom today. That fire and brimstone that is going to rain today is thermonuclear fire that can only be caused by intercontinental ballistic missiles, ICBMs. But guess what? Guess what? Let's go to Genesis 19. Let's go to Genesis 19. Let's show you what Abraham did, right? It's the same thing we got to do for our people, what Abraham did. But you're going to see something heavy in this. Genesis 19, and let's start at verse 23. Genesis 19 and verse 23. The sun was risen upon the earth when Lot entered into Zorah. Then the Lord rained upon Sodom and upon Gomorrah brimstone and fire from the Lord out of heaven. And he overthrew those cities and all the plain and all the inhabitants of the cities and that which grew up upon the ground. But his wife looked back from behind him, and she became a pillar of salt. So look, we got to remember Lot's wife, right? And in that hour of temptation, when destruction is coming here to Babylon the Great, we can't look back. We shouldn't have no fond memories of this place, because this is the place of our captivity. What fond memories can you have of this place? I don't enjoy working a 9 to 5, having to get up at 3:30 in the morning to be out the door at 4:30 to make it to work for 5:30 in the morning, to get off at 4 o'clock in the evening and not get home till 5:30 in the evening. I don't enjoy the conversation of the wicked. Negroes are always talking about who got the biggest butt, how many girls didn't lay it down with, which one do all types of tricks or whatever. Nobody wants to hear that. Nobody wants to see our people strung out on drugs, our people on alcohol. So what is there to look back at? The things that people are going to get caught up in is the big house, the nice car, the air conditioning, being able to take a hot shower. These are the things that people are going to get caught up on. Some of our people still struggle with these holidays. Celebrating Christmas, celebrating New Year's, celebrating Thanksgiving. Some people get caught up in Halloween. But again, knowing this truth, what is there to look back on? Absolutely nothing. There should be nothing for you to look back on. Verse 27. And Abraham got up early in the morning to the place where he stood before the Lord. And he looked toward Sodom and Gomorrah, and toward all the land of the plain, and beheld, and lo, the smoke of the country went up, as the smoke of a furnace. And it came to pass, when God destroyed the cities of the plain, that God remembered Abraham, and sent Lot out of the midst of the overthrow, when he overthrew the cities in which Lot dwelt. So, for those that don't know the history, before God was going to destroy Sodom and Gomorrah, Abraham sent up prayers for Sodom and Gomorrah and asked if there was one righteous, would he spare the city? So let's read on. Let's read on. Verse 30. And Lot went up out of Zoar and dwelt in the mountain, and his 2 daughters with him. For he feared to dwell in Zoar, and he dwelt in a cave, he and his 2 daughters. The firstborn said unto the younger, Our father is old, and there is not a man in the earth to come in unto us after the manner of all the earth. Come, let us make our father drink wine, and we will lie with him, and may preserve seed of our father. And they made the father drink wine that night, and the firstborn went in and laid with her father, and he perceived it not when she laid down, nor when she arose. And it came to pass on the morrow that the firstborn said unto the younger, Behold, I lay yesternight with my father. Let us make him drink wine this night also, and go down in and lie with him, that we may preserve seed of our father. So this is where Moab and Ammon came from. That's where you get those incest babies, those Down syndrome babies. So from there, let's go to Genesis 13. Genesis chapter 13 and verse 13. But the men of Sodom were wicked and sinners before the Lord exceedingly. This is why the Lord destroyed Sodom, because they were wicked exceedingly, meaning they went above and beyond wickedness. They took it to the upper echelon. So what exactly was going on? What exactly was going on that caused the Most High to say, I'm just going to completely wipe these 5 cities out? Let's go to Romans chapter 1. Let's see what was going on in Sodom that was going on in Rome also, that's going on in America as well. This is the book of Romans, chapter 1 and verse 24. Wherefore God also gave them up to uncleanness through the lust of their own hearts, to dishonor their own bodies between themselves, who changed the truth of God into a lie, and worship and serve the creature more than the Creator, who is blessed forever. Amen. For this cause God gave them up unto vile affection. For even their women did change the natural use into that which is against nature. And likewise also the men, leaving the natural use of the woman, burned in their lust one toward another, men with men, working that which is unseemly, and receiving in themselves the recompense of their error, which was meat. And even as they did not like to retain God in their knowledge, God gave them over to a reprobate mind to do those things which are not convenient, being filled with all unrighteousness, fornication, wickedness, covetousness, maliciousness, full of envy, murder, debate, deceit, malignity, whisperers, backbiters, haters of God, despiteful, proud, boasters, inventors of evil things, disobedient to parents, without understanding, covenant breakers, without natural affection, implacable, unmerciful, who knowing the judgment of God, that they which commit such things are worthy of death, not only do the same, but have pleasure in them that do them. So, this is going into all manner of wickedness, in particular, homosexuality. That's what was going on in Sodom. That's what was going on in Rome. That's what's been going on in Egypt. That's what's going on here in America. And with that homosexuality spirit comes the disobedient to parents. It comes the murder. It comes the debate. All of this wickedness comes in that package together. And these are the things that was going on in Sodom, where it says that the Sodomites were wicked beyond, they were wicked exceedingly is what it said. And these are the things, this is the spirit that was in Sodom. This is the spirit that is in America. This is the spirit, believe it or not, that is in Amalek right now. That is in the Holy Land right now as we speak. Because guess what? Those people, like Captain Ben Zion brought out, those people run Pornhub. So all that pornography that is trapping our people up, they the ones in charge of that. They the ones that's pushing that out there. They the ones that keep that going, to keep us in the midst of sin. So from there, let's go to 2 Peter. 2 Peter chapter 6. 2 Peter chapter 2. 2 Peter chapter 2 and verse 6. And turning the cities of Sodom and Gomorrah into ashes, condemned them with an overthrow, making them an example unto those that after should live ungodly, and delivered just Lot, vexed with the filthy conversation of the wicked, for that righteous man dwelling among them, in seeing and hearing, vexed his righteous soul from day to day with their unlawful deeds. So that's the same thing that goes on with us. That is the same thing that goes on with us. We are being vexed day by day with their wicked conversation. And just like the Lord laid Sodom and Gomorrah into ashes, that's the prayer. That's the prayer for the nation of Israel. That is the prayer for the nation of Israel, that these wicked nations that have us in oppression, that have us in derision, that are vexing us, should be made ashes. So watch this. Wisdom of Solomon chapter 18. Wisdom of Solomon chapter 18 and verse 7. Because some people might be like, I thought we were supposed to pray for our enemies. Yeah, we are supposed to pray for our enemies. But watch the prayer. Wisdom of Solomon chapter 18 and verse 7. So of thy people was accepted both the salvation of the righteous and the destruction of the enemies. So the salvation of the righteous and the destruction of the enemies must be accepted by his people, by the 12 tribes of Israel, by you so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans, because salvation is for you and only you. Christ ain't died for everybody. Why for the life of me? You know what? Let me take a step back a little bit, right? I'm going to ask this question. I'm going to ask this question to my sisters. Sisters, would you want to live with somebody that raped you, that beat you, that humbled you, that shamed you? Would you want to live with a person that did that to you constantly? Would you want to live with a person that raped you constantly? So that answer right there that y'all just gave proves without a shadow of a doubt that John 3:16 it absolutely cannot be talking about all nations. Because the God of the Bible, the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob is a just God. And a just God would never let the people that touch the apple of his eye live in the kingdom with his people. So that right there alone shows you that their understanding of John 3:16 is off. So now, seeing all of this, knowing all of this, seeing the signs of the times that we are living in, without a shadow of a doubt, y'all see these are the last days, right? Let's go to Mark 13 and let's see what we should be doing. Let's go to the book of Mark, chapter 13. I'm going to start at verse 30. Mark chapter 13 and verse 30. Verily I say unto you, that this generation shall not pass till all these things be done. Heaven and earth shall pass away, but my word shall not pass away. But of that day and that hour knoweth no man, no, not the angels which are in heaven, neither the Son, but the Father. Take ye heed, watch, and pray, for ye know not when the time is. So, because we don't know when that day is going to come, we see the signs of the time, and we know we living in the last days, but we still don't know the day that the Most High going to be like, all right, you can go ahead and jump off the throne and bathe your sword in their blood. Bathe your sword in the blood of Idumea, son. We don't know when that day is going to come. Only the Father knows when he's like, okay, yeah, now it's time for you to go destroy them. So us not knowing when that day is going to come, we need to watch and pray. Watch and pray. We got to watch the prophecies unfold. Watch and see what the signs of the times are. And pray for our deliverance and the destruction of our enemies. Also in that praying, ask the Most High to continue to keep his spirit on you and to continue to give you grace that you may get yourself together. Because guess what? The righteous shall scarcely be saved. The righteous shall scarcely be saved. Only 1/3 is going to walk through that fire. Like Hananiah, Mishael, and Azariah. Only 1/3 are going to walk through the fire like the 3 holy children did. 2/3 will be cut off and die because they were in their wickedness. And yes, some of that 2/3 is going to know they were Israel. Some of that 2/3 was going to be appearing as though they were keeping the commandments. So let's watch and pray, y'all. Hey, look, that has been our daily bread this morning. I pray y'all got something out of the class. Happy prep day. Shalom, Most High, Christ bless. Y'all make sure y'all stay tuned for mid-morning medicine. I'll be right back on mid-morning medicine this morning. All right, y'all. Most High, Christ bless y'all. Shalom.